Right now, it is McEnroe leading Lendl.
Lendl 31. He's come in more often. 38 points. About the same percentage of win when they come in.
John McEnroe was able to break on the final game of the first set, win that set 7-5.
After the US Open tournament in LA, San Francisco, Johannesburg, the Sydney Indoors, Tokyo, Stockholm, London, and then the Australian Open, and ESPN will be there for semi-finals of women's and men's competition.
Plenty of tennis remaining in the 85 calendar year.
The Nabisco Masters will finish January 13th, and that will conclude the 1985 Masters, 1985 year.
No problem at the net that time for John McEnroe.
Again, I want to remind you that this is the tough side for Lendl to be serving into. And he is having a tough time here, as you see John McEnroe with that backhand volley. And then easing the forehand into the open court. Lendl nowhere in sight, and it's 15-30.
Another mini chance for McEnroe. Oh, yes, right on the line. And now two breakers coming up for the defending champion here in Canada.
And I should add to that that if he wins one of these next 2 points, he'll be serving for the match.
It is 4-3. McEnroe.
Second serve, and I think he'll attack it.
Here he comes.
Deep serve. He tried to attack it, and that's the way to put pressure on Lendl. But Lendl has come through in this set, hasn't he, when the chips are down on second serve? He needs a first serve here, though, doesn't he? Because to have to serve those deep second serves, sometimes into the forehand side, time and time again, without double faulting, is not an easy assignment.
Good point. Second break point for McEnroe. And we'll have a second serve.
Borg used to do that so well. He was a backcourt player in every sense of the word, but he won 5 Wimbledons, and I remember so well watching him play, and every time he would feel threatened and pressured by a guy who'd come in, he would just change things up and come in himself for a while, just to keep the net rusher honest, and then he'd go back to the game that was his best game, which was from the back of the court. You saw Lendl there attacking McEnroe to try to neutralize his attack game.
He's fought off 2 break points. And now has the advantage. He's gone to that serve, and especially the second serve, to bail himself out this afternoon.
You got to hand it to him. He's come back a few times. This is good stuff.
Certainly this set much more interesting than the first. Well, if you're going to do it, better there than on the previous point.
I suppose.
And better not to do it at all.
You don't want to, once you get a chance to put McEnroe away, you got to try to do it, of course.
Oh, that's nice.
So again, McEnroe will be handling a second serve. Double faulted himself into another break point.
Well, that's 2 in a row. And now McEnroe's taking just a little extra time. You see the double faults for McEnroe, 3-5 for Lendl. But two big.
Could be the difference in the match.
Well, it's McEnroe's style of play that draws those double faults as we talked about. Here's a big one. Is he going to go for the big one again? I tell you, it's an interesting battle of wits here. Lendl saying, look, I'm not going to let you chip and come in and make me go for the passing shot. One of the ways of doing that is serving and coming in behind the second serve. You haven't seen that much of that kind of style of play from him, but he's done it twice in critical situations in this game alone.
Back to deuce. Fourth time we've been at deuce. McEnroe had 3 break points.
Open court, you just can't give John McEnroe too many looks at the passing shot because he'll eventually put it away. Watch it here. Here is his second chance. I thought this one might have been the end of the point, but Lendl covers for it. Now, though, it's down the line and open, and he doesn't miss the second look at the pass.
Fourth time that McEnroe has had a chance at a break point. On the other side of the court, Lendl had a game point. Couldn't finish him off.
See if he comes in behind the second serve again. No. Well, he tried the big serve into the forehand side again. 3 double faults in one game is just too many.
Well, it sets up a possible championship game here for John McEnroe, who will serve for the match. He's leading 5-3 after taking the first set 7-5. 3 double faults in that 8th game.
Ace.
McEnroe now needs 3 points for his 2nd consecutive Canadian title and his 2nd consecutive victory over Ivan Lendl.
Lendl beat him at the World Team Cup that was on clay in Germany in May, and the WCT Tournament of Champions also on clay at Forest Hills in New York. And of course McEnroe won last weekend in Stratford.
So now 3 match points for John McEnroe.
Kind of an insufficient conclusion to the match, isn't it? It was so hard fought, and then suddenly 3 double faults from Lendl in that tight game that you just saw, and now an easy serve game from McEnroe, and it's all over.
It is over. McEnroe is the 1985 Canadian Open champion. Defeats Ivan Lendl in straight sets, 7-5 and 6-3.
Neither player, as they walk by the umpire, saluting him in any way, a kind of a cursory thank you from both of them. I guess another match that they feel not very well appreciated.
So it is McEnroe over Lendl here in Montreal. He's the champion of the Canadian Open for 1985. We'll have more coming up from Montreal. 85 Canadian Open. I think for me a little bit of disappointment that the second set, which was so well played and so exciting and hard fought, had to kind of come to a sudden and disappointing end.
Well, it was, I suppose, but I thought it was well played, and I think Ivan Lendl showed that he has got the potential to beat John McEnroe. The things that he's got to do, though, John, are that he's got to hang on. You know, McEnroe plays like a bull terrier. Once he starts to grab at the bottom of your pants, he'll hold on and he just never lets go. You don't have the feeling that Lendl plays that way. He's not that kind of a player. His way of expressing himself is just to keep hitting the ball even harder. Well, it worked for him under some circumstances in that third set. He stayed in the match by some outstanding second serving, but then when he really needed it at 4 games apiece, or at least, what was it, at that point, 3-4, it let him down and McEnroe came through in characteristic fashion and won. But McEnroe was not, I thought, as lethal as he can be, particularly in the first set. In the second set, he showed a little bit more, and I have a feeling that after this match, he will say that that he was not entirely happy with the way that he played.
He is the winner, 7-5 in the first set, 6-3 in the second. There were only 2 breaks of service, and it was John McEnroe able to come through as we go back once again to match point. The return is long, and McEnroe is the champion here in Canada for the 2nd consecutive year. And he will be receiving the applause and the cheers as we present the trophies. We'll have more, some final thoughts right after this.